Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow conservatives, fellow patriots, or, as Hillary would say, welcome, fellow deplorables, or rock dwellers, as others would say, or as Obama called us, bitter clinger-oners, or just you bad people, or as Biden has called us recently, chumps. Of course, he was the uniter, right? Isn't he the guy that wants us all to be united? Other Democratic leaders have called us squealing pigs, hostage takers, terrorist saboteurs, and arsonists. So with that, you are welcome here, even if you're not welcome at CNN or MSNBC. That's because we are the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth, and I am glad to be here with you. And I am glad to be sharing the microphone today with my good friend, your good friend, the Constitution's good friend, and that is the good doctor of this republic, Dr. Nasser Sheikh. Welcome back, Doctor.
Hey, George, nice to be with you once again, and let's get it all started by saying it's just an absolutely another great day to be alive and well and free and living in the United States of America, the greatest country in the history of the world, bar none. We're hoping that it's still going to be a constitutional republic. You know, it's an uphill battle, George, as to what's going on right now, as we see some of these forces out there are basically, you know, they've all, since 2016, and even on the day of the inauguration, there was a coup d'etat that was being perpetrated on this presidency, on this man, Donald J. Trump, basically right from his speech, if you want to, you know, to now. I mean, every single day, there is absolutely no rest for this man. I mean, he cannot, you know, eat, he can't go to sleep, he can't go to the bathroom. I mean, he had to a damn thing without 24/7 the alphabet networks that we talk about, you know, the Marxist mainstream media, this election mafia, the polling stations. I mean, you talk about it, the Democratic State Party controlled media. I mean, they're all after him, you know, even, so that's just the digital media. Then you've got what I call the New York Crimes or the LA Crimes, you know, their sister. You've got USA Today. You've got all the, you know, Pittsburgh. I mean, all of these other newspapers, National Press and Radio, NPR, you know, MSLSD, the Delusional Network. I call
Forgot
ABC,
the Washington Compost.
Washington Compost. I call anything but conservative ABC, the Cabal Broadcasting System, CBS. And now I think Fox News needs to get a new moniker. They ought to be called FAUX, FA News. Because these people, as far as I'm concerned, George, and I like your take on this too, I think what they did tantamounted to election interference. These guys had the temerity. They had no business, no reason whatsoever to make that call for Arizona around 9 o'clock, between 9 and 9:30, with less than, if you looked at the moniker at that time, it showed less than 1% of the vote in, and Arizona was already called. And I think what they wanted to do was let the people out there know, hey, there's no reason for Arizonians to go vote. We've already called the thing for Biden. So if you were a Trump supporter, maybe you decided not to go to vote. I mean, when has this ever happened? These are the things that we talk about. In the middle of the night, they stopped counting votes. Why? Because they said they were tired, that you have poll workers there the whole day. Well, whoop-de-freaking-do. Suck it up and count the votes. This is the American presidency. Every 2 or 4 years, we just ask you to do it for one freaking day. And you guys say that you need to go to sleep. So we go to bed. Well, we didn't go to bed for a long time.
Yeah. You and I were up till about 3 in the morning or later.
Here we are, we're up by 15 in Pennsylvania. We're up by 8 in Wisconsin, up by, you know, almost 7.5, 8 in Michigan. And then, you know, you're thinking, hey, this is great. And then next you start to hear some stuff. And then there's all of a sudden at 4:30, 5 o'clock, you know, it's like everything's reversed. He's up by 8, now he's down by 2. He's up by 6, he's down by 3. The lead in Pennsylvania is cut. And you wonder, what the heck's going on over here? And then you're talking about Pennsylvania, Ohio, they vote pretty much together. So does Wisconsin, that whole Rust Belt. So what are the odds? I heard somebody say this, that the last time an election was lost by a presidential candidate who won both Ohio and Florida. It happened in 1960. That was JFK Nixon. And a lot of people still think that, you know, Joe Kennedy, with his ties to the whole Daley establishment and the Daley, you know, crime family in Chicago, that's where the election was won, in Chicago. So, your thoughts.
Yeah.
I know we want to get into Sidney Powell and some other things that are there, but I just wanted to give you a chance to sort of, your thoughts on what you saw election night. Oh, and one other thing. I also did this, let people know, and I almost forgot. I already said that. I'm just, whatever. The other thing, go ahead. I'll get my train of thought. I got so many things jumbling around.
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, I totally understand. Well, so I agree. One of the things that I think is odd is that you had bottom line is you had this red wave show up. The Republicans held the Senate. The Republicans won somewhere. We don't know for sure yet, but looks like they've picked up as many as double-digit seats. So they are dangerously close to flipping the House. Maybe not quite there, but they're close. And we were told it was going to be a blue wave. We were told for sure it's a guaranteed blue wave. Nate Silver and all of them told us that. Turns out they're wrong. But we go to bed, and then all of a sudden at 3 a.m, truckloads of new ballots are showing up. Because when 120,000 new ballots show up, that's not in a box. That's in a truck.
Right.
So bottom line is it's just a little too difficult to stomach all of this. And then in law, they have this principle called consciousness of guilt. So let me ask you what you would assume. Let's assume that you came upon two guys in a back alley. They're doing something that appears to be a little shady or nefarious, and then when a policeman walks around the corner, they take off running. When he says, "Excuse me, stop there," and they take off running. What does that tell you? Probably guilty of something. That's called consciousness of guilt. So, other examples of consciousness of guilt are you are asked maybe where you were on a certain day and you make up an elaborate lie that's later proven to be a lie. The fact that you lied about where you were is, again, a consciousness of guilt. So the bottom line is, if they're not trying to steal the election, why are they behaving like they're trying to? Why are they boarding up windows so you can't see how they're counting? Why are they making the people they've allowed in the room to watch stand 25 feet away so all you can do is kind of see vaguely something? You can't see any writing. You can't see that they're doing it right or wrong. You're just in the same room. So, be like, having the nosebleed seats, and say that you can tell what the coach is writing on a piece of paper on the sideline. No, you can't. So bottom line is, why do they defy court orders? A federal court orders that they allow the Republicans to be there when they're counting, and they say, no, we're not doing that. What I don't understand is why aren't federal marshals showing up to arrest that said persons? Because that's what happened to you or me. If there were a court order making you or I do something, if we said, no, I'm not doing that, we would have very shortly thereafter a visit from federal marshals.
Would put us in cuffs. We're not part of the right crowd yet.
Okay.
Even though we're considered Republicans, we're not part of the team that supposedly has all rights.
Yeah.
And George, I'll just add my 2 cents to this. The reason why this is happening and why Democrats think, first of all, they've been getting away with it for years, but that's the real reason.
Yeah.
We have had such amounts of abuse at the highest levels of government. I mean, you could go down a list of who's who. Let's just even take a look at Hillary Clinton. Remember what they did? I mean, they took hammers. We know they took hammers to their phones. They took drives from there and used bleach bit to clean them off. I mean, if you and I did that, if we were ever subpoenaed or we were in a situation where they said, you know what, you can't touch anything of yours, and we ended up, and you or I, we took our computer and, took it outside in the back and started hammering away at it and crushing it, and whatever, and then we brought it back into our house. Do you know how fast we would be perp-popped and for obstruction of justice?
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? There's a 2-tier level justice system.
The Mueller team did the same thing, by the way. The Mueller team destroyed their phones and erased everything that was compromising. So this is how they play the game.
That's how I think, George, that they think that they're just going to, because nobody's ever held accountable. We're still waiting for the Durham thing to fall down. And how many times have conservatives? It's like Lucy, right, and Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
How many times has that football been pulled from us? Lucy is the Democrats, holding the football. and the establishment and the deep state. And Charlie Brown is a conservative, and we think this time we're going to get up there and we're going to get the indictments. Someone's going to go to jail. And you know what? Who goes to jail? Just a tiny little mouse, or some mice. I mean, they say the people, and that's it. But the
ringleaders never go to jail.
Always get away with everything, and that's what they're. That's the part of me that looks at it sometimes, and I'm ever faithful. But that's part that says, you know what? If they've gotten away with it before, if not, because I'll tell you what, if this goes down the way we hope it does, and we can prove the preponderance of guilt in terms of showing, voter fraud that's just too big to overlook, because obviously the light has been shown, the disinfectant has been shown by the Trump administration, this will go down for the ages or whatever. But if not, I really feel that, boy, I tell you what, our republic has taken a huge, huge hit, and the soul of our country is going to be going a wrong direction. Because if they can get away with this now, what's to stop them down the road?
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, part of the reason why this is so important is not just for today. I think it is important for today. I'm not saying not important today, but not just for today. It's because if we don't stop this now, we can just give up on the idea of self-governance. So it's stunning, but we are up against the clock, and the clock interrupts a great conversation, as it's doing now. But that's the way broadcast things work, right? But just a reminder to our listeners and our viewers: this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. He is Dr. Nasser Sheikh, and we are coming to you on the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, the AUN TV Network, and Al Gore's amazing internet, TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, Net Talk America, AM/FM 24/7, and of course our own website, ccrshow.com. Don't go away. Nasser and I will be right back.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk. Learn about your options before it's too late.
Call 800-964-1055. 800-964-1055.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to. These new Medicare Advantage plans may have many free new benefits, including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available, and it's a free call to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Benefits Line, a free non-government service. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits Line now. It's easy. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings.
Call 800-691-1655. 800-691-1655.
Medicare Benefits Line is not connected with or endorsed by any government agency or the federal Medicare program.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents, and Tax tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-447-7570. 800-447-7570.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show, the television show. We're on the AUN TV network, of course, on the Conservative Commandos radio network as well, and Al Gore's amazing internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, and of course our own website, ccrshow.com. I'm George Landreth. He is the good doctor, Dr. Nasser Sheikh. And of course, we are your Conservative Commandos host today. And Nasser, in the last segment, you mentioned Sidney Powell, but the clock got in the way and interrupted us. So I'm going to try to reintroduce that topic because sometimes the clock's not our friend.
Well, thank you, George. Absolutely. And you know what? When you're right, you're right. When you're left, you know what, guys? You know, the left, they're wrong. And I just want to continue a little thing from before I forget, and we'll get into Sidney Powell. But I just wanted to talk to you, like we talked, here we are, right? We went to bed. Everything's great. We're up by so many points. People wake up in the morning and everything's turned upside down. Here's a few tidbits that I talked about one of my shows on YouTube. Explain this. Biden's got 13 million Twitter followers. Right now he's got 75 million votes. Barack Obama just barely hit 69 million, almost 70 million. So we're to expect that Biden got 5 million more votes than Obama. Trump has 88 million followers. He's going to get maybe 71, 72 million votes. Did you know that Biden is the first Democrat presidential candidate in the history of the presidential elections that he lost more Texas counties than any other Democrat presidential candidate? That's Biden. Did you know that Biden underperformed? And this will get into the Sidney Powell thing. Biden underperformed in every major urban area except Philadelphia, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Detroit. Can you believe that? Mm-hmm. He underperformed in every major metropolitan area except Detroit, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Atlanta.
Well, he actually underperformed there, too, until they brought in all the extra ballots.
Exactly right, extra ballots, yes. Trump won the largest vote share percentage of any Republican presidential candidate of any non-white voter. In over 60 years, he had his numbers up with every demographic. So that's something to think about. Here's the last thing. Oh, that's it pretty much. Okay, so those are just some things. And then we talked about the presidential coattails. They were absolutely orange in color.
There were no presidential coattails for Biden, though. Biden was, yeah, I mean, they didn't take the Senate. We were told there was going to be a blue wave. I mean, Nate Silver, all the experts, all the smart people told us, blue wave, you can bank on it. Well, the Republicans kept the Senate, and they closed the gap in the House tremendously. Not a single Republican congressman lost. And not a single.
And those are all the lean to. That's right. Not a single one lost. And you know what? We may pick up those seats like you were talking about. Unfortunately, some of those seats are in California where they do ballot harvesting. So, you know what? Nothing is done until that thing's over. But getting to this Sidney Powell. You know what? Sidney Powell is one of the most respected, one of the most articulate, one of the most intelligent, attorney. If I had a choice to have there's a lot to pick from. There's Joe DeGenova. Joe DeGenova. There's Sidney Powell. There's Rudy Giuliani. I know I'm missing a lot out there. But if I had to have somebody represent a case for me and be a straight shooter, Sidney Powell would be one of them. And what they're saying is she put this out there, that they've identified over 450,000 ballots were cast for Joe Biden only. In other words, they just had the pencil mark and the pen mark only for Joe Biden. Nobody else down ticket, not at all. I know when I went down there where my ballot, and I'm sure yours was the same, I looked at it. It took a good 10, 15 minutes to, pencil everything in and, make sure that you were voting for the right candidate, if you were for Republican or Democrat. What are the chances? And then these dumps come around, and then Bartiromo, right? Maria Bartiromo on Fox Business Futures. I mean, she has got a huge following. She's got a reputation too, and for her to have Sidney Powell on there, I mean, I don't think she wants to, have her reputation tarnished, and I don't think Sidney Powell does either. And so, if I had a choice to believe, Maria, or if I had Sidney over, FAUX, Fox News, or CNN, or what's coming out of the Democrats, George, come on now. Where are we putting our chips if we got to go all in on that table? Your thoughts?
No, I'm with you on that. I think we've seen so many weird kind of anomalies that are hard to explain. And occasionally you'll get an anomaly here or there, but it's just weird that there are anomalies in the, like you named the cities,
overperforming cities, right?
Yeah. And so it's kind of, it's just very strange to me that that's how the anomalies worked out, particularly when the other side did not have a get out the vote effort at all. In fact, we read many stories about Democratic activists in Florida who were frustrated that the campaign wasn't giving them the resources to have a legitimate get out the vote effort. But somehow, in a couple key areas, they had this magnificent get out the ballot effort. I don't know if voters came out, but they did get a get out the ballot effort at about 3 a.m, sometimes 4 or 5 a.m, but oddly enough, not in the daylight. There are things that if someone is doing, example would be maybe someone's near the window of my house because they're repairing my window at 3 p.m. At 3 a.m, they're probably a burglar. People aren't repairing your window at 3 a.m. And so the bottom line is, I think there's a lot of problem there. And I think, again, I get back to that question of, if they're not guilty, why are they behaving like they're guilty? I also think it's very odd they're demanding unity. And I know we're going to have some guests a little later on. One of them will talk about that question. But I think it's strange, though, to demand unity when the votes haven't actually been certified yet. In other words, stop looking, stop thinking about it. There's nothing to see over there. These are not the droids you're looking for. What are they hiding? What are they worried we might notice if we look deeper? And so to me, it's a troubling and it's a problem. And like you said, 450,000 votes of people that only voted just for the president and nothing else. That's kind of weird. My ballot was full 2 pages.
Yes. And George, let me ask you, you're an attorney. If you were a judge, for example, and somebody came up and said, look, we've got all this paperwork here that's documented, and we've got all these, let's say, false signatures from this gentleman here. But we don't have any signatures from the gentleman that you're accusing of doing the false signatures. There's not a single one. I mean, and you've got maybe, let's say you've got 100,000 documents on one side. Now you could say, well, you didn't find any on the other side. But the chances of that happen, that not a single one, where are the single ballot marks for just Donald Trump?
Right.
I mean, where are those?
Yeah, no, you're right. You would expect it to be about equal on both sides. It typically would be. And there are a few voters who are more interested in the presidential race, and they just show up and do that. It's not that universe isn't zero, but that universe is not 450,000 either. That's crazy.
And in just one, domicile, just one area.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Like
That's crazy.
Spread around everywhere.
Right. No, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. We're a pretty divided nation, and so, for example, if you're voting for Joe Biden, you are also very interested in seeing the Republican senators lose.
Yes.
You're very interested in seeing Nancy Pelosi get more support in Washington. So you'd think they'd vote for them because that's the nature. It used to be that people were less, there was less, what they call split ticket voting. It used to be that, but in today's world, people are much less apt to do that simply because on the same token, if you like Donald Trump, why would you ever vote for a Democrat for the Senate? Because after all, they were the ones who came very close to trying to, convict him of impeachment. The House, they actually, passed impeachment. Why? Because the Democrats are in charge. So if you vote for Donald Trump and you vote for a Democrat in the House or the Senate, you obviously are brain dead. And I would argue the same thing if you are Joe Biden. And yet there's this, they want us to believe that 450,000 people in one state are brain dead. It's hard for me to imagine that's true, but
would that be, as an attorney yourself, would that be an avenue of at least giving your point to the judge to say that in this day and age, if you took a look at it just from, like you said, in terms of the voting public and how divided we are, that avenue to go down that rabbit hole, so to speak, to say that what would be the chances that someone who really is coming out there to vote for Biden, in a preponderance of over 500,000 if these votes are and they show the ballots that do, that they didn't care at all in terms of what was going on, with the House or the Senate seats? How implausible is that? Is that, do you think,
I also think it's important to know when those ballots came in, because if those ballots came in, late, after midnight type thing, then you're going, not only is it another anomaly, isn't just that they didn't vote for anybody, but it's like, why did all the people who voted before midnight, when the polls were still open, why did they, why is it these guys, the late ones, all just voted for one thing? And I think that's a relevant question. And I think it could be a compelling piece of evidence. But the reality is some people will demand that you basically have signed affidavits from people saying, yes, I committed voter fraud. The problem, of course, is you're not going to get 450,000 people to agree to that. So you're going to have to, the courts are going to have to look at this more holistically and just see what's real. But
and George, I have a question to ask you, is that when a ballot goes through, is that ballot time-stamped through the machine? Do you know that answer to that question? I mean, I would imagine somehow there must be a timestamp on that piece of paper when it's going through or not.
The software may do that. I don't know if they stamp it on the machine, because I think the machine may not have a printer aspect on it. But when you put it through, it probably records the time of the vote down to probably the second.
In what that ballot voted, correct?
Correct.
So is it possible, theoretically possible, that you could go to a machine and find out that as those votes were fed through, that a huge swath of ballots went through and just voted for only one person and not others too?
I believe that software would reveal that. In other words, if you were able to get a court order to get the data from the government to look at the data, it'd be very interesting to see if basically what you find is all the ballots after midnight were all of a sudden single, race voters, but before that they hadn't been. You'd be able to tell the judge, that's kind of weird. Yes. But we are up against the clock, and we've got to take a break again just so we can take care of some business and keep ourselves on the air. But you are listening and viewing the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. He is Dr. Nasser Sheikh. We're coming to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, the AUN TV Network, and Al Gore's Amazing Internet. Our website, ccrshow.com. Don't go away. The good doctor and I will be right back.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. He's Dr. Nasser Sheikh. We are your Conservative Commandos host today. We're glad you've stuck around. We're, of course, coming to you on the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, the AUN TV Network, and Al Gore's amazing internet. We truly are everywhere, as Rick likes to say, the original Conservative Commando. I do want to remind you, you can get a rebroadcast of any previous show, including this one. If you missed any part of it, ccrshow.com. It's all there. Well, Nasser, let's just, you've been following things closely, and I know that you're a person who has a voracious appetite for information and news. What are some of the things that have been going on in this very, very slow news week that concern you? Anything else?
Well, one of the things that happened was, and I talked about this, and it was another prediction of mine that, these aren't hard to predict, folks. You just know how the playbook happens, okay, with the Marxist mainstream media. I talked about it on Thursday and Friday, and basically said that you watch, real soon, the fake news media, the Marxist, media, mainstream media, FAUX, FAW News and CNN, these guys are chomping at the bit. There is a wave of orgasmic ecstasy that these guys are waiting for. The foreplay is on right now, basically. Political foreplay is over. They're waiting for the climax, and that climax is they want to absolutely put it out there that Joe Biden has gone over 270, so that most of the people in the United States around the world that don't know the law or whatever, and they think that, because it's always happened this way before, people get programmed. Oh, the networks call the election, it's happened for the last, millennium, and that's the way it is, not knowing that this needs to be certified. It has to go to the state legislature, the slate of electors have to be picked. It's got to be signed off, by the boards and the governor and all that stuff. No, they're putting pressure on us, George. They're putting pressure on people like ourselves, Conservative Commandos Radio, other outlets, other, Republican, senators and legislators and other people, an average day Republican, just what they call the deplorable, saying, hey, don't you make us stink. Don't you try to upset the apple cart. All right, we've already picked that president. We know who it is, and that's what they're trying to do. There's a gentleman out there that says, hey, hold on a bit. His name is Alexander McCree, and you can go to this place. It's macris.substack.com. So it's .substack.com. macris.substack.com. And his article, you take a look at this, folks. He's a writer. He just puts it out there, just stating the law the way it's supposed to be done. We'll get into it. He basically says why Trump will triumph. And did you know, folks, that the word Trump is in the word triumph? Anyways, he says Trump will triumph in PA litigation. So basically, he says, let's wind the clock back. If you go back to October 28th of 2020, the Republican Party of Pennsylvania versus Bachbar, the Supreme Court, they declined a motion to expedite the consideration for the petition, what they call a writ of certiorari. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yep.
And that's what they did, is they basically denied to expedite it, because they said the election was coming up right now, we don't have enough information, we're going to do it after the election. So the fake news media complex, the Marxist media mainstream, those guys, they said, oh, decline. But they failed to tell you it was just a decline for the expedited one. They said they're going to look at it later. And I'll just say, basically is this, is that they sent a request, the Supreme Court said, we'll hear it, we'll put it aside, we're going to, decide what we're going to do with, later on. Now, here's what you have to understand, folks. In 2019, the PA legislature passed a law called Act 77 that said all voters to cast their ballots by mail unambiguously required that all mailed ballots be received by 8 p.m. on Election Day. In fact, the exact text is 2019 Pennsylvania Legislative Service Act 2019-77, which stated, this is the law, folks, no absentee ballot under this subsection shall be counted which is received in the office of the County Board of Elections later than 8 p.m. on the day of the primary election. This is actually from a written piece by Justice Samuel Alito as well, because they've sort of weighed in a little bit, 3 of the justices on the conservative side. It also provides that if the portion of the law was invalidated, then the rest of the Act 77, including its liberalization, what they call the mail-in voting, would also be void. And you can find these texts in sections 1, 2, 3, 3.2, 3.2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 12. Now, let's go a little bit further. The whole idea beside this is that what they're saying is, and George, you're the attorney on this, so you can talk to this too. Basically, what they're saying is that it is up to the legislators to depend on the scope, the area, the time, the place, how ballots will be marked. All of that is up to the legislators to do. But what the Pennsylvania Supreme Court did in a 4-3 decision, they themselves decided to use the judicial fiat. It's like the president do an executive order, which he's allowed to do, but judges can't. They can't change the law. If they would have said the law is unconstitutional, send it back to the legislature and fix it up, that would have been a different story. But they didn't. They just said, you know what? Oh, COVID's around, so we've got to take it in our hands, and we're going to say you can do it 72 hours after 8 p.m. on that day, no stamp, no
signature.
No signature required, just send them in like that. So the whole thing is going to be premised on the fact is, they usurped and they went after Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution, which basically says it is up to legislators to make the law and the courts to uphold it, not change it. Your thoughts, George?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. And if we go back to Bush v. Gore, the 2000 case, the Supreme Court, which had a liberal majority on it at that time, held 7-2 that it was inappropriate for the Supreme Court of Florida to rewrite Florida's law on counting votes and determining who won the electoral votes. That the Constitution, as you described, in fact, gives that authority to the state legislature to determine. And of course, the governor typically then signs it because that's how you make laws. But the bottom line is, it isn't given to the court to 2 weeks before the election say, it's been a rough year, we're going to change the rules this year. That's a legislative assignment. So it's a simple constitutional question. It's not a lot more complicated than if I said to you, California's a big state, I think we deserve 3 senators. How would you respond? Wouldn't you just kind of say, George, I'm not going to argue this with you. It's pretty, sure, California's big, but that's not how it works, dude. It's in the Constitution. It says 2 per state, right? And that's all this is. This is kind of like, it's not the state Supreme Court doesn't get to write the law. The legislature does. And they did. They had one. And the state Supreme Court just said, we don't like that law. We're going to write a new one. We know better. Sorry, dude. That's like saying you get 3 senators. You don't. I don't care what rationale you give me. It won't wash.
That's sort of that's the difference why it is so important, and it is that you look when you're choosing a Supreme Court justice. And I think one of the great things that President Trump did, because there were a lot of people, there were a lot on the, I think on the evangelical side, there were a lot of people on the never Trump side that sort of weren't sure, because obviously Donald Trump was, sometimes when he was in New York, he did things that people would have thought were more democratic. He had to survive, so I'm sure he played the game, like he said, in both ways. But they weren't sure, a lot of people, because he had no position on this. But he said that I'm going to elect strict constitutionalists, originalists, and then he gave a list. No presidential candidate has ever given a list before of the people that he's going to elect. So I think that placated a lot of people, not a bunch of them, because they still were some never-Trumpers out there. We know who you are. But they still, at least he put it out there. And what the Democrats try to do, George, and you know this is, it's a living, breathing document. So like in your case.
It means whatever we want it to mean based on what suits our purposes today.
It's 2020. Let's pack the court. And you know what? Why shouldn't California have, more than 2 senators? That's not fair. They're a big city. Why does New Hampshire get the same representation if it was up to, these people that want a, living, breathing document? They'd go ahead and say, you know what? Absolutely. We're going to elect a 3rd senator for, California, or 4 senators. And, what are you going to do about it? Would that ever occur here? Could you ever put forth another 2 senators on a presidential ballot? On the election ballot, to say that that's what the Supreme Court of California decided, that we're going to have 4 senators now? Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, to quote the great uniter, come on, man. I hope our listeners and viewers understand that I was being entirely facetious when I said the great uniter, because throughout his 47-plus year political career, Joe Biden has been anything but a uniter. He's been among the most divisive, just kind of, he's a race baiter. He's, there's nothing, he's not been a uniter. It's just, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But I like to call them that because I like to make fun of the left, because they come up with the craziest lies. If you're going to tell a lie, why not make it plausible? Why would you tell me that the moon is brighter than the sun?
You're right. We've got proof of that, George. It's not even from our side. We've got Kamala Harris, who basically called. Now, she didn't actually say the words, but that was that second debate where everybody thought that, Harris went from like single digits to double digits for the first time. 15%, everybody thought that she was the anointed person because she went after and she turned to, Joe Biden and said, I was that little girl that was being bussed and you, sir, were against that. And then when they asked her afterwards, you're going to call Joe Biden a racist? She goes, that's not my call. I'm not saying that. Yeah, right. So now she's a vice president running mate of a person that she basically intimated was a big-time racist?
Right.
Come on, man.
Well, that's a good spot for us to take a break, because we are up against the clock again. It goes way too fast. I'm trying to figure out, anytime I'm on the show with you, it's like, what happens? The clock speeds up. Nasser, what are you doing to my clock? But we are, of course, the Conservative Commandos. We're coming to you on the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, the AUN TV Network, and Al Gore's Amazing Internet, with places like ccrshow.com. Don't go away.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show, the television show. You can get us on the AM and TV network, the Conservative Commandos radio network. If you're not near one of those many broadcast towers all across the country, Al Gore's amazing internet solves the problem. We truly are everywhere. Well, maybe not China, North Korea, Iran, but everywhere else, we're there. I'm George Landreth, and he is the good doctor, Dr. Nasser Sheikh. We are your Conservative Commandos host today. I do want to remind you, if you want to rebroadcast of the show, more information, go to ccrshow.com. It's all there. You know, sometimes I have been frustrated throughout his career with Lindsey Graham. I'll be honest. But I also have to be honest, I've liked him a lot more since the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. And this past week, he has said and done things that make me like him more. Because I used to sometimes be frustrated because I felt like I wasn't really sure if he was really on our side or not. But during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, he clearly was. And then, of course, we saw the Amy Barrett hearings. And I think, again, he demonstrated he was on our side. Let's talk about what he's done this week to suggest that he's on our side.
Well, George, since you brought that up, I can tell you this thing. A lot of my friends, what they'll do is, they'll send me videos of Lindsey Graham and, other Republicans who were saying things against, President Trump. Now they're saying, how could that, all of a sudden you accept Lindsey Graham into your column? And, there's enough videos on the other side. We just were talking about with Kamala Harris, what happened here. She basically practically called, Joe Biden a racist. And now she's running mate for the vice presidential ticket on the Democrat side. So this is what happens in politics. And yes, was there some stuff that happened between Ted Cruz and, Trump and Bush and Trump and, Lindsey Graham? And remember he did that funny thing with the phone and, busting up or whatever, or here's my phone number, call. That happens in politics. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. But I agree with you. There have been times when Lindsey Graham, and you're like going, I wouldn't consider him right now. He's one of those things that sometimes we thought was a rhino, right? Mm-hmm. Along with John McCain, Republican right. In name only. And I respect the late Senator John McCain for a war hero, but I'll tell you what, some of his decisions boy, I'll tell you what, he was, siding with the Democrats on so many. But like you said, Lindsey Graham, Kavanaugh, that speech that he gave, that's the Lindsey Graham that we're talking about. That's some of the Trumpian DNA, flowing into his veins. And the same thing with ACB. So absolutely. And now we basically heard that he's going to be donating nearly $500,000 to the Trump campaign in terms of for their legal team or whatever. So, Ted Cruz, as long as the Republicans stand and hold together and don't start to peel off, because that's what the Marxist mainstream media is trying to do by anointing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as the, elected president and vice president, in election. That's what they're trying to do, and hopefully do the same thing, fracture that, Republican coalition, so that they start to feel that the pressure coming from the outside, and that they can go back to President Trump and say, you got to give it up, man. You got to leave, for the good of the country or whatever. We need to make a stand. And I'll tell you what, like I talked to one of our other guests before, and I'll use a word here, euphemism, you intercourse with the wrong guy, guys.
Yeah.
You intercourse with the wrong person.
Yeah, no, they did.
George, your thoughts?
No, I think you're right. I've appreciated that Lindsey Graham has stood up for and been willing to, fight the good fight here. Because there are times in the past where I sometimes wondered whose side he was really on. And of late, he hasn't made me wonder. He made a major contribution to the recount effort. He also has made it clear. He came out very specifically, said that President Trump should not concede. If he does, we will never win another election again from the presidential perspective. And because they will use their power to ensure, because that's what they do. They consolidate power. That's what, for example, Chavez did down in Venezuela. He got in, and then once he got in, he changed all the rules to make sure he could never be gotten out. That's how they play this game. That's the way they do these things. And I think it's important for us to recognize that, because too many people seem to think that that it's just about this election. There's more at stake than just this election. And that's enough, quite frankly. This election is very, very important. But it's not just this election. It's a question about whether we will sink into totalitarianism. And you can say, oh, that's overstating it, George. The Democrats aren't like that. I'm just like, okay. So why is it that elected Democrats are talking about creating enemies lists for retribution purposes? That's the tactic of fascists. That's what the brown shirts did in Hitler's Germany. The Nazis. That's what the brown shirts. That was the people who went around to intimidate and to harm the people who were deemed to be insufficiently committed to the Fuhrer. And so at some point we have to ask ourselves, we're seeing this happen here. And these people, I'm on an enemies list now. They have a map, and they have my location, on that map. And, my mother got beat up, by angry Biden supporter. These are not the sorts of things that have ever happened at anything I've ever attended. I've attended Republican rallies or even protests. They were sometimes referred to. They didn't feel like a protest. It actually felt more like a county fair. There was just no funnel cakes and no cotton candy. But aside from that, there were grandmas, kids in strollers. It was very peaceful. We cleaned up all of our trash. I remember talking to one of the park rangers, and I said, "How's this weekend?" He goes, "It's a breeze, man. Everybody's behaving themselves. It couldn't be better." And that's not what happens when the other side shows up. When the other side shows up, things catch fire. So it's just, to me, I think we have to start looking and saying, what is the base of this party about? Sure, I understand Joe Biden's smart enough to not actually talk about being a fascist. That doesn't mean he isn't one. It just means he understands he can't advertise it. But his party is filled with people who want to do violence to those that don't agree with them. And it's interesting, they accuse us of that all the time without any evidence at all.
That's true. And listen, if there was any time where you may have expected, this is what the left was saying all the time, that you know what, it's always what they project what they do, and they deflect and project what they've done or what they intend to do and say that it's you guys that are doing it.
Yeah.
And so,
ding, 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 you are exactly right. Right on the nose there.
And the other thing is, where were all the, if there was a reason for people to come out and protest and get upset and burn buildings and start, vandalizing and looting and arson, it would have been going to bed at night thinking that you're winning and then waking up in the morning knowing that everything is, that the script has been flipped. But you didn't see anything. All you said was, we're going to go about this legally. We're going to protest that at the counting centers to let Republicans see what's going on. That transparency.
And for the record, our protests actually are peaceful protests. Not mostly peaceful. They are peaceful.
They are peaceful. I mean, look at the difference in terms of what happened with Occupy Wall Street and the filth and the destruction and what those people did and how many millions of dollars it cost New York State and New York City to clean up after that mess. Remember the tea parties that were held on the Mall of America and out near the Lincoln Memorial? Not a speck of dirt. Everything was picked up and put away. Trash. People had, their food and everything out there. They protested peacefully and they left. But all you heard about were these tea parties were some gun-toting rednecks or something.
Right. No, you're exactly right.
That's what it was. Remember the same thing in Virginia? When it was for the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
People came. There was what? 15, 20, 30,000 people.
Yeah.
A lot of them were holstered. A lot of them were packing and carrying. Yeah. And you know what? Remember what the media was hoping for? The media was hoping that somebody would have fired a shot.
Yeah.
But
There was
our
none of
side
that.
is smart. None of that at all.
They didn't even litter, much less shoot anyone. Yeah, so it's interesting. You're exactly right. Well, we are about up against the clock, so we better take another break. But the good news is we will be right back. Both the good doctor and I. Don't go away. We are the conservative Commandos.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255 That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show, and of course the television show, carried on the AUN TV network, the Conservative Commandos radio network. And if you're not near one of the many broadcast towers, never fear, because Al Gore's amazing internet is always there to save the day. I'm George Landreth, and I am here with my good friend and your good friend, the doctor of our republic, Dr. Nasser Sheikh. He and I are co-hosting the Conservative Commandos today, and we're glad you can be with us because this is the place to be. I just want to remind you, if you want to rebroadcast or more information about the show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. Nasser, I think that it is your honor to introduce our next guest.
Bring your family, bring your friends. I have no idea why our friends aren't here. It doesn't matter. He's here, but he's fighting.
Can you hear? You're not hearing anything, Doctor? I'll edit this out. Let's fix the.
Okay, how's that?
Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay, so
so
I'll say it again, and I'll be quiet. Sorry.
Speaking with Brooke
Wait. Start again, just so that it's not me talking over you.
Arizona. She's keeping a close eye right now on the vote count, and they've been attending and speaking at several Stop the Steal rallies. So, Brooke, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show and the AUN TV broadcasting network as well. And give us an idea of what's happening with your boots on the ground there with the MAGA Institute.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. We are at the Maricopa County Election Center in Phoenix, Arizona, and there's a small rally going along behind me. We've been out here every single day fighting for our legal votes to be counted, and only the legal votes here in Arizona. They remain about 80,000 votes still outstanding to be counted. President Trump has moved in on Joe Biden. He's now under 17,000 under Joe Biden. When he started out, it was about 200,000. So these votes are trending his way, and we are looking forward to the final count in Arizona, where he's going to gain 11 electors. We're very excited.
Well, give us a sense, Brooke, in terms of where, we've been hearing, for example, from the Trump team and others that they were expecting, perhaps they were going to be like around 30,000 ahead when everything was done. They also basically said that the outstanding counties, if you take a look at the county map, it seems that Joe Biden probably only won maybe 4 or 5 counties. The rest of them are, red. So can you give us a sense of, is it Cochise?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not from Arizona, so I'm not certain of the county. Sorry.
All right, okay. So what are you hearing from people on the ground there in terms of the outstanding vote? That is it coming from those red counties that in that 60% threshold that President Trump needs to do to overcome this?
So I haven't gotten that exact detail today. I asked the GOP, and they're actually unsure of it at the moment. It looks like some of them are outstanding from Maricopa County, which is it lends itself to be blue in some areas, but in Congressman Gosar's district, which is part of Maricopa County, that is completely red. It's like R plus 20 something. So he's in good shape. We think President Trump has this totally.
Now, what about some of the, I guess you said the military ballots and some of the other ballots that, from overseas are coming? How many, do you have a sense of the number of those that are outstanding, or have they already been pulled through and tabulated?
The only numbers that we're getting right now, Sar, is that 80,000 stand out as of last night. Yeah, 80,000 is all we've been told. Nothing about military or absentee from overseas.
I got you. And give us the mood of the people that are out there. Are they like fired up and they just, is there any despondency with them then? Is there any letdown or whatever? Are they just raring and rocking to go supporting our president? Give us a sense.
Absolutely, I will. So over the weekend, we had the Stop the Steal rally on Saturday, and then we came back over here to yell at them that we are watching you as you count. And that is the theme. That is really the feeling. People drive by and yell about Biden and flip us off just like now, but that's okay. That does not get us dispirited because we know President Trump is fighting for us and we're not going to give up the fight for him. This is an obvious systemic corruption across the country. In 2000, it was Florida only that we had to deal with. And now we've got about 6 or 7 states that we're dealing with. President Trump is not giving up. We are not giving up. We're hearing all kinds of stories you probably have heard about not just irregularities, but like what looks like fraud. And when I say fraud, I don't mean voter fraud because the voters haven't done anything wrong. This is election process hijacking. We feel like this is domestic terrorism. Many of us talk about how we feel like the time we saw the second plane go into the tower. This was how it felt. We feel like we have been cheated and we are under attack and we are not going to take this lying down. You see elderly ladies getting walked to the booth with a person wearing a tag that says voter integrity, and they find out that is, this was in Georgia or Ohio, you find out that is a person who has been sent in by a Soros think tank. That's not, and then they're showing the lady how to vote. You've got dogs voting in California. You've got dead voting in Nevada. We are going to get to the end of this, and when we do, Trump will be victorious.
But give us a sense of, in terms of, are they allowing the Republican poll watchers or legal people to go in and watch the votes inside, or are they doing it like we heard what was happening in Philadelphia, that they boarded up the windows, they didn't allow them, they actually needed to have court orders, and even with the court orders that were being issued, they still weren't allowing them in some jurisdictions. So what's going on over there?
Right. So Philadelphia is pretty darn corrupt. But right here in Maricopa County, it looks like there is representative for the GOP. Also, Boris Epstein from the Trump legal team is here. So he's giving us an update. Every once in a while, he comes out with updates. And we feel confident that things are going well. And I have seen trucks pull up. They say 80,000 ballots. Maybe that means it's from a county from over there. But why? Why does it take almost a week for the ballots to arrive? But I guess that's what's happening. Trucks are arriving today. And we're holding on to the integrity of the election here in Maricopa County. And should there be irregularities, we fully expect the Trump legal team to drop a case here as well. So are there any Trump representatives that are there? I heard that, I think Charlie Kirk from TPUSA, wasn't he supposed to be out there? Or was he already there? Or what is your sense of some of the Trump support team? Have they been, I know they're active, but are they out there that you've seen at all? Right. So that was Friday. We had a major Protect Your Vote rally for Turning Point, sponsored that. And that was great. Charlie Kirk was here, as well as Alex Jones, Brandon Tatum. There was a lot of notables that arrived and spoke that day. Congressman Paul Gosar and Kelly Ward were here. It's now Monday, and so we're going to be here every day at noon. We're going to be here every day at noon until the vote is done. But a lot of people are working and have to come in after 4 or 5. And this crowd just continues to grow during the week. And we expect to be here every single day until we get the final vote tally. And we're, as I've said already, we fully expect Trump. We're all excited. We're not despondent because we know God wins in the end, right? Truth will always be revealed. That which has been done in darkness will be brought to the light. And we're going to see that happen very shortly. The thing is, too, guys, I want to tell you, we have to encourage Americans to be patient because we're such an instant gratification kind of society that we want to know that night or the next day. I think that it's taking so long in Maricopa County because they're being very meticulous. They told us in the beginning how many they had. They didn't keep coming up with more numbers. They told us in the beginning how many they had left to vote, how many they had left to count. And they've been showing those numbers, have been very legitimate on it. And so I feel very confident in Arizona. I know that if it doesn't turn out the way it should, integrity-wise, that we'll have a case here as well, and that's okay.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with Governor Ducey, correct? I heard that he's really been on top of things and making sure that things, run smoothly and whatever. So, kudos to that out there. And, look, you said something I think people need to understand. It was, you put it in there and you said that, well, a lot of people aren't here yet right now because they still have to work and come back. So they're conservatives.
right? We got jobs to do.
We've got jobs to do to be out there. So
Yep, absolutely. So, this serious systemic corruption across the country will not stand. It will be brought to the light, as I said already. When I said dogs are voting, there was a dog that goes to college with his college student because he is a caregiver or caretaker or whatever it's called, a support dog. And so he has a student ID. Well, all of the IDs at this particular college in California were granted vote. They were given ballots, and actually he was given like a social security number and actually had a vote. So this is ridiculous. We've got dogs voting and the dead voting and 120-year-old people voting. This is just going to be, like I said, it's just going to be exposed, and it's just going to be exciting as it becomes more and more exposed and brought to the light, and President Trump will win.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we've got to take a quick break here, but we're speaking with Brooke McGowan, who's the co-founder of the MAGA Institute, and she has her boots on the ground, so to speak, out in Maricopa County in Arizona, watching the vote tallies and giving us a sense of what's going on with the people that are out there and making sure, and there's the horns honking out there, either they're telling you good job or they're telling you...
That was a thumbs up.
There we go. There we go. And listen, we're going to take this break into, you're watching the Conservative Commandos radio network and on the AUN TV broadcasting system in California. We can also be seen on many other platforms, iHeartRadio, TalkStream Live, AM/FM 24/7, podcasts. I've got my co-host on the other side, George Landreth. I'm Dr. Nasser, and we're going to be taking a station break here for just a couple of minutes so we can do some sponsors with our, good friends that sponsor our show, because we still are a capitalist country, at least as of now. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Brooke after the short breaks.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now, because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and 0 deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show and the television show, carried on the Conservative Commandos radio network, which is broadcast all across this great nation, and the AUN TV network as well. But never fear, if you are not near one of the many broadcast towers, there is always Al Gore's amazing internet coming to your rescue so you can watch us. Maybe not everywhere, because I suspect China, North Korea, and Iran doesn't carry the Conservative Commandos, just because the mullahs and the communists don't really like freedom. But everywhere else, we truly are there. And of course, our website, ccrshow.com. I'm George Landreth, and of course, I am here with the doctor of our republic, Dr. Nasser Sheikh. And we have been talking with Brooke McGowan. She is with the MAGA Institute. She's on the ground in Maricopa County, which is close to Phoenix, Arizona, and she's been following what's going on there. She's, as you can see in the background, she's literally doing this, from, not a studio, but actually out on the street. So thanks for sticking to the break with us, Brooke. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, that's right. I'm out here at Maricopa County Election Center, and I've been here since Thursday. We flew in from D.C. to really give some rapid response to help Congressman Paul Gosar and Arizona GOP Chairwoman Kelly Ward get out the message that this is not over just because Fox may have called it on Tuesday night erroneously and early while people were still standing in line. Arizona is not Biden country. And there are some irregularities that everybody knows about. We've been talking about them in almost every state. Here in Arizona, they've talked about something called Sharpie Gate. And the people were told that they had to use a Sharpie instead of the ballpoint pen. And then the Maricopa County elections person says, oh, no, that's what we do. But except on the website, it says that you don't.
Right.
So
I think isn't the problem the Sharpie isn't picked up reliably by the scanner?
That's what I've heard.
Whereas a traditional black ink pen would be?
That's what I've heard. So what the solution to that, Congressman Gosar's camp and, of course, the GOP camp decided to set out a table over here and set up a notary and set out affidavits for people to come here in person at the election center to sign an affidavit swearing to what their issue was, what kind of irregularity they had, whether their ballot was spit out of the machine or they were asked to use a Sharpie, or maybe they never got their ballot or their ballot came in the mail late, whatever. They were here, and the desks are supposed to be set up again tonight. And the reason for that is because when you have this is in preparation for a legal case, should this not end up the way we wish it does. And for a legal case, you have to have discovery and evidence. One of those things of evidence are the ballots inside this building, the tabulation machines, as well as those affidavits telling the stories that we've been hearing about almost all over the country.
Yeah, you're right. The other side has been saying you got to prove your case, and it's like, yeah, we will. I find it curious that when you observe things, they say, well, "Where's the proof? Where's the proof?" It's kind of like, well, this isn't actually how it works. What you find is you find the allegations of irregularities. It's like if they don't walk around proving that banks have been robbed before they get a report of a bank being robbed. The process is the bank manager calls up the police and says, "We've just been robbed." The police show up, they do an investigation, and but it's like they're telling the bank manager when he calls the police, "Where's the proof?" And he's like, "Well, if you'll come on down and take a look, I can show you."
Right.
But so it's a kind of an odd approach to things. But earlier when you were talking with Dr. Sheikh, you had said something to the fact of that in some jurisdictions, I'm not sure it was there in Arizona, maybe it was California, but that dogs had been voting. So I just wanted to clarify, is it your position that dogs shouldn't be allowed to vote?
We are really interested in only every legal vote. We don't want dead voting. We don't want dogs voting. We just want a fair and equitable election with integrity and transparency, and that's all we're here to demand. We're telling them that we're watching them, and we are watching them. We're going to watch them till the end of this, and they know we're out here. You can see them when they walk by, the workers, they just turn their heads. We don't hate on them. We're telling them thank you for doing your jobs. Obviously they look like Biden supporters, and that's okay, but as long as they're being watched, we're not too concerned. We'll just find out at the end of this whether or not there has to be a legal case in Arizona.
Right. So all the legal votes obviously strikes me as it shouldn't be controversial. And yet if you watch Twitter and you listen to CNN, all I hear them say is count all the votes.
Right.
Maybe including dog votes. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird, right? And,
so you saw that like 450,000 votes showed up, 450,000 ballots showed up with only Joe Biden's on it, right? Only Joe Biden. Only Joe Biden. None of the down ballots were voted on. So it sounds to me like they got a little bit ahead of themselves when they were in their scurry to try to fill out a lot of votes.
Yeah.
These
I
things
think
are
you got to
gonna
cut them
continue
some
to come to
slack
light.
there, because when you're trying to fill out 450,000 ballots overnight while no one's watching, you got to do it fast. And so they didn't have time to go down and mark all the congressional and local issues that were on the ballot. They just had to go with Joe Biden. I mean, come on.
That's right. Well,
what do you want them to do?
You know, we're finding these things out, and that's okay, and that's what we'll continue to do when we do these court cases. You know,
Right.
I'm very excited to see the legal team do their due diligence. And, you know, in 2012, we didn't have a fighter. In 2012, we saw Ohio and Pennsylvania go, 110 or 112% voter turnout. Well, Romney didn't fight that. Romney conceded. We got a fighter in President Trump, and we are not going to stop fighting for him. He has never gone wobbly on us. We will not go wobbly on him. We're going to be here till the end, till we know something here. And even once the legal challenges, if there are any in Arizona, we'll still remain for that as well.
George, I just want to come in here real quick, Brooke, and just basically say, they picked the wrong freaking guy to go to war with. I'm telling you what, this is why we voted for this man. And
That's right.
We're going to support him. We're going to support him. There's not enough support in our bodies, in our DNA, but every ounce of DNA that we can scrape up and give, that's what we need to do. So,
100%.
like I said, it's absolutely. I mean, if they think that he's going to roll over,
no, and I'm hearing him call it. You may like this for I don't know if your listeners will hear, but at 5 p.m. today, which I think is 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump has asked for all Christians to be in prayer regarding the Senate confirmation. There's Senate confirmation hearings happening today at 5 p.m. We've got federal judges to still put on the bench right in the middle of all this mayhem. So be in prayer for that. Obviously, the Senate is in Republican control, but they can obstruct, as we well know. But yeah, be in prayer for that if you're a believer. Be in prayer for that. Have good thoughts and good vibes for the Senate confirmation hearing based on President Trump's request.
Absolutely. Just a quick question or observation, I guess, in this. For at least the first 3.5 to almost full 4 years of President Trump's presidency, the media inundated us every night, breathlessly, with allegations, and they pretended they weren't allegations. They pretended it was established fact that the president was essentially an operative of Russia, that he was involved in colluding with Russia, the 2016 election was a ruse, blah, blah, blah. Of course, we now know that they had zero evidence of any of that. Absolutely zero. So now they want us to just sit down and shut up. You have the former vice president calling for unity, which, as I see it, is actually not a call for unity. It's a call to say, conservatives, sit down and shut up. And
don't you love how they did that to us about the masks? Don't you want to care? Don't you care about your fellow man? You wear your mask for someone else, not for yourself. This has all been part of the plan, George. This has all been part of the plan. And now they're going to be saying the same thing. For the sake of the country, tell them to concede for peace and for the sake of unity. You know what? You were not helping us unify for 3.5, almost 4 years when we heard Russia, 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 and then the impeachment, special counsel, and the perfect phone call that they were going after with the Ukraine, and then the COVID issue. So they have
the
never
funny
been
thing is
fair
they
to
impeached Donald Trump for doing for claiming he did what Joe Biden actually did do.
Absolutely. They always do that. That's how evil is. They always project. They always do that. Absolutely.
It's, pretty amazing. I'm shocked by that. The other thing that I find amusing is this call for unity from the guy who presided over the Bork hearings and gave us the verb to Bork.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Then, on top of that, he presided over the high-tech lynching of Clarence Thomas. He was the chairman of the committee. And then in 2012, he told us that, he told the world that Mitt Romney wanted to put black people back in chains. You remember that? And then, of course, he's called, the GOP, the Trump supporters, chumps. Yeah. And they've been calling us racist now for 4 straight years.
Hey, he called our president a clown and told him to shut up at that debate.
This is the man who wants to unite America.
Right, and it's
I'm
all
kind of
about
like,
love
I'm
now,
sorry, I missed
unity.
that.
No, we're going to fight it.
Pretty crazy stuff. Well, thank you. We really appreciate you giving us this update. There on the ground, boots on the ground. I don't know if you're actually wearing boots. It could be tennis shoes on the ground. It could be flip-flops for all I know.
Hey, I've got my cami jacket on.
That's good. Camo jacket on the ground. That's good. Or on you, actually, not on the ground. But
thanks for having me, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. I'll be here a couple more days if or maybe even the rest of this week if you want me back.
Absolutely. That would be awesome. We will do that. I just want to remind our viewers and our listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. He is Dr. Nasser Sheikh. I'm George Landreth, and she is Brooke McGowan. And we will be back. Well, Brooke won't be maybe in a little later this week, but the Conservative Commandos will be right back after these messages. Don't go away.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk. Learn about your options before it's too late.
Call 800-964-1055. 800-964-1055.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to. These new Medicare Advantage plans may have many free new benefits including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available and it's a free call to enroll. The easiest way to enroll is to call the Medicare Benefits Line, a free non-government service. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits Line now. It's easy. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings.
Call 800-691-1655. 800-691-1655.
Medicare Benefits Line is not connected with or endorsed by any government agency or the federal Medicare program.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 800-447-7570. 800-447-7570.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show and the television show, carried on the AUN TV network, and of course, always on the Conservative Commandos radio network, broadcast all across this great nation. But if you're not near one of the many broadcast towers, never fear, Al Gore's amazing internet comes to the rescue. We truly are everywhere. Well, maybe not China, North Korea, and Iran, but everywhere else, we are there. I'm George Landreth with Dr. Nasser Sheikh, the good doctor of our republic, and we have our next guest here. So, Nasser, I think that the honor of introducing him goes to you.
Thank you very much, George. We have Seton Motley. He's the president and founder of Less Government, and we're going to be talking to him obviously about his assessment of what's going on with the election, and also his article about supposedly, Biden's unity. Is Biden supposed to unite the leftists and the government bureaucrats, against us? So, Seton, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show, and go ahead, take it from there. Give us an assessment of what you think, where we're at right now in this whole election process, and then talk to us about this so-called unity platform that Biden and Kamala are supposed to be, propagandizing out there for the American public, and using, by the way, sir, the power of the press, the power of this, what I call the Marxist mainstream media, the Democratic State Party controlled media, to put intense pressure on those squishy, wishy-washy Republicans, those progressives and moderates and other people in the media, and even, just ordinary everyday Americans like you and I, to basically say, hey, we're going to pick the President of the United States. We've already picked him. Shut your damn mouth and just take it right down the throat. Go ahead, sir.
Well, yeah, I mean, and you read the articles today about, the inside baseball articles about oh, they're moving to, hire these people for the transition and these people for the administration. You're like, wait a minute, he's won zero electors have voted for him yet. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's a gaslight of major proportions. There's multiple lawsuits being filed by the Trump team because there's obviously some chicanery going on in multiple states. I mean, on election night, Trump had Wisconsin, Pennsylvania in the bag, over 100,000 votes in Pennsylvania, and then suddenly he lost the lead. That's absurd. That's simply absurd. So, yeah, that's the first thing. So, of course, Biden comes out and demands unity. But what people don't remember, and what I wanted to remind people of, was I think the unity he's actually referring to was the Biden-Bernie Sanders unity platform that he released in July, this was his deal he cut with the hard left in his party, was let Bernie Sanders write most of his campaign platform, and then he'll hide in his basement and not campaign on it because it probably polls at about 20% with real Americans. So when he comes out and says we need unity, simultaneously people like Ocasio-Cortez are demanding an enemies list of people who supported Trump. That doesn't sound very unifying to me. Again, I think he's hearkening back to the unity platform of government broadband and net neutrality and Green New Deal and $4 trillion in new taxes, not counting the Green New Deal, which is actually, in addition to everything else, awful, trillions of dollars in additional taxes on top of the $4 trillion. And all the other awful things, the Bernie Sanders Marxist communist wing of the party fed into his platform as a deal for Sanders getting out of the way and let Biden having the nomination.
Seton, one of the things also was that, just to sort of take back in terms of what you were saying, I have never, ever seen an election where, for example, somebody is winning by over almost 720,000 votes in Pennsylvania. He's up by 15 points. And now they're saying basically it's either neck or Biden might take Pennsylvania supposedly. So you go to bed at night knowing you're up 15. Then you find out that lead is cut in half in the morning. So somewhere within 5 or 6 hours, 350, 400,000 votes get found in Pennsylvania. He was up 54 to 46 in Michigan, in Wisconsin, I'm saying, going to bed.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he's up by, it's up by 200,000-300,000 votes. And then now he's down by 30 or 40,000. I mean, it happened not in Pennsylvania. It happened in Wisconsin. It happened in Michigan. It happened in Arizona. I mean, what are the odds of something like that occurring?
There's a great article in this weird website I'd never heard of before, and the guy's a former accountant, and he talks about when he's an accountant, he goes through the books of some company, he looks for red flags. And there's all kinds of red flags on this. I mean, it's absurd. First of all, why is it that only Democrat-controlled areas of the country can't get their crap together on election night? What the Democrats do is they use election night totals as a target to know the number of fake votes they have to create in order to surmount the deficit they've accumulated amongst actual voters. What's going on in Pennsylvania and Georgia with Atlanta and Arizona and Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin? These are multiple states that have been stolen from the Obama, Team Trump. I mean, how on earth is a man who never campaigned going to tally Trump, who got 7 million more votes than he did the previous election? He's going to out-tally Obama. He's going to out-tally Hillary Clinton. It makes no sense whatsoever. That's another red flag. As you said, you go to bed on election night, Trump's up by double digits in Pennsylvania, and he loses Pennsylvania after the fact. That's absurd. Michigan has multiple counties where over 100% of the voting age population voted. That's a red flag. This has been stolen. And the question is, can Trump's team, because this is the problem, and this is why, this is one of the reasons why voter fraud is never addressed, is because you create these ballots, there's no way to say that those ballots didn't exist. I mean, for example, there's, I don't know how many, 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 ballots in Pennsylvania where Biden is marked and no other race is voted in. They're like 4,000 Biden ballots where it's Biden's got the only vote on the entire sheet. That's a red flag. But the point is, how do you know with all these mail-in ballots that they shot with cannons all over the country? It's very hard to contest them and say, this is a real ballot, this is not. That's why Samuel Alito, the Supreme Court Justice, said to Pennsylvania, keep the post-election day ballots separate from the election day ballots, because we need to take a look at those. That also signals, it doesn't guarantee, but it signals he talks to his colleagues before going public like that, and it signals that a majority of the Supreme Court would agree with whatever it is Alito comes out and says. So it seems to me that we'd have a majority on that. The question is, there were so many mail-in ballots, millions sent out to fraudulent addresses, to dead people, to addresses that were my address 4 houses ago, and one guy will get 5 ballots at one apartment for all the previous tenants for 10 years. That's the other problem with trying to solve this theft, is most of the legwork to steal this election wasn't done on election night and beyond. It was done months in advance by all these states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin trying to overturn all the election laws, the good faith election laws that the people had voted for, because they sued, they went to judges, leftist judges, and got them to overturn the will of the people in their states.
Well, I think one of the things that's going to happen is that, Alito was talking about that's Act 77 that was passed in 2019 by the 4 Supreme Court Pennsylvania justices in a 4-3 decision, because in Pennsylvania, like other states, you can vote either for your Democrat, justice or Republican justice. But what basically Alito was saying that, Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution says it is up to the legislators that determine the scope, the place, how election laws are, how ballots are supposed to be sent in, the timing, the dates thereof. That's pretty much, the wording. I mean, I'm not wording it, exactly precisely, but
you're right. That's the requirement.
Right. So
Bush v. Gore held that 7-2.
Right. Exactly. You can't allow the justices to rule by executive fiat. That's not their job. Otherwise, why have legislators make the laws? The court can just say, you know what, forget about it, we'll just take it. So if they had declared that to be unconstitutional, that would have been a different story, and send it back and say, rewrite the law. They didn't. The justices of the Supreme Court decided to rewrite the law and say you can send in a ballot after 8 p.m. on Election Day up to 72 hours later. Doesn't need a postmark, doesn't need a signature, doesn't need anything. So based on that, we don't know what the SCOTUS decision is going to be. But seeing where the 3 justices already on the Supreme Court, led by Alito, they're going to bring her up to speed, Amy Coney Barrett or whatever. Hopefully, if it does get to the courts, we've got some legal precedent to stand on. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, no, I agree. If you harken back to 2000, the Supreme Court only had to rule on one state. And, of course, the Democrats were corruptly trying to cherry-pick counties that heavily favored Democrats and only recount those. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. You either recount the whole state or the whole thing stops, so the whole thing stopped. Now, beyond that, we've got multiple states to deal with now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 states that the Supreme Court we ultimately could be asking the Supreme Court to look at. Are we sure they're going to be willing to do that? Because with a Chief Justice Roberts perpetually looking to not be political while accidentally looking more political than he would have if he'd ruled properly, can you see the Supreme Court intervening on 7 or 6 different state cases with regard to voter fraud? I mean, if the evidence is impressive in each one and every one, then maybe so, but it's a big lift and a big ask to get the Supreme Court to weigh in on that many states in an election, in a single presidential election. I'm not optimistic. That's another reason I'm not optimistic.
Well, I guess on that thing, I'm full of boundless optimism on that. But listen, Seton, we've got to take a quick break with our sponsors. Could you hold on for another segment, please?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wonderful. We're speaking here with Seton Motley, who's the president and founder of Less Government, talking also about his article, Biden's supposedly unity. We also went into some other avenues in terms of, what's happening with the votes and all kinds of other things. But I've got my co-host on the other side, George Landreth. I'm Dr. Nasser, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We are coming from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network and on the AUN TV broadcasting system in California. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back with Seton Motley in just a couple of minutes.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show and television show carried on the AUN TV network, the Conservative Commandos radio network, and of course on Al Gore's amazing internet, TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, you name it. We truly are everywhere. I'm George Landreth with Dr. Nasser Sheikh, the good doctor of our republic, and we have been talking with Seton Motley. Seton Motley is the founder and the president of Less Government. Now, let me tell you, we could use some of that. We need to make sure that it's good that Seton is focusing on that, because when there are not many people in Washington, D.C. who actually care about less government. So Seton is fighting an uphill battle, but he's very good at what he does. And I'm glad to call him a personal friend. I've known him a long time. He is a principled conservative who's doing his very best to fight against the craziness that we see. So thanks for sticking through the break.
I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. So, Seton, I was going to talk. You were talking with Nasser about the whole question of unity, and I guess I have a couple of observations. Here's a couple experiences I've had. One, my organization is posted on one of the websites of the I guess kind of the Antifa affiliated riot groups. That they put this up right before the election with a little target on a map as to where to go after us, listing where we are and how to get there, so that they could people like you and I could be singled out for retribution. And I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't sound very unifying. Or my own mother was beaten up by an angry Biden supporter because my mother had the audacity to be waving an American flag and a Trump sign near her home. She and about a dozen other senior citizens. Now, my mother is actually now not only a grandmother, but a great-grandmother. And, she was punched and knocked to the ground by some big guy that decided that it was wrong for them to express their support of Donald Trump. So I
didn't know about that. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, the police came and arrested the guy because they happened to be in a store only about 100 feet away, and they saw the whole thing. My mother was dazed, so when she came to, the guy was in the back of the squad car in handcuffs. But at any rate, my point is these people, and then you've got people like AOC who are talking about making a note of who all the Trump supporters are. And it wouldn't be hard, for example, to find you or I on such a list. Why does she want that list? So that they can get retribution in the years to come. And I guess I'm just saying to myself, you spent 4 years calling us racists, calling us Nazis, why should we take you serious now when you say you want unity? And I think your take is about right, but I just wanted you to kind of comment on your observations about the boarding up of cities, the threats, the other things, all from the party of love and peace and harmony and unity.
Well, that was another part of the gaslighting for the entirety of this lockdown, this COVID lockdown, was all this violence in all these Democrat cities. Done by Black Lives Matter, done by Antifa, and then you turn on the news, and they're talking about white supremacists engaged in violence, and they harken back to that ridiculous Obama report from HHS in 2009, or Homeland Security. It said the number one threat to America is domestic white supremacists. And, I mean, they've been fostering this lie for more than a decade, and now, because they feel emboldened by stealing this election, they're going to do what communists always do, which is punish the enemies. I mean, Obama said that, you reward your friends and punish your enemies. And there was a large degree of that under Obama with the IRS targeting of Tea Party and conservative groups and a bunch of conservative non-leftist, non-conformist reporters being targeted. And then, of course, on their way out the door, the entire Trump-Russia collusion nonsense was a multi-government agency assault on enemies of the state for 4 years, from Trump's entire first term. And so now that they've got power, they've got the executive branch back, they know the media is going to completely bend over backwards to cover for them. They're not going to report anything ill about any Democrat anywhere. They can get away with a lot of stuff. They can do a lot of damage and have no culpability for it whatsoever. And that includes going after people to the right of Karl Marx in this country.
Right. Well, I'll give you an example. Some kind of left-wing anarchist lunatics, some of whom posted videos showing they hated Donald Trump, were blamed, they used them to say that Donald Trump encouraged them to go after Governor Whitmer. I find that kind of curious, since they were people who hated Donald Trump. I don't know that that makes any sense at all, but that's the way the story was told in the press.
I think that was actually, believe it or not, a smart messaging attempt on their part, because being against Donald Trump is a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah.
And even though there were videos of them bad-mouthing Trump at least as much as they had been bad-mouthing Whitmer, once they were caught, they went into Trump made me do it mode, because that's your fastest way out of jail anywhere in this country. That was my reaction to that when I heard them say that. I mean, you can't get arrested if you're doing whatever you're doing in opposition to Donald Trump.
Right. We saw that in Seattle. We saw that in Portland. The summer of love. It's like they're killing people. I'm sorry, but and then burning city blocks. I feel a little bit like in The Princess Bride. Why do you keep using that word, love? I do not think that word means what you think it means. But at any rate, this is a very divided country, and look. I think, George, you and I have discussed this
off the air, just between us, I am a total cynic. I thought this country's been doomed since about 2005. Now, I didn't think it was going to crash and burn in 2006, but I thought the dive we were in was unrecoverable. And the fact that Biden is on the verge of stealing a entirely won by the opponent election and get away with it completely and fully, and then go into enemies list mode and Green New Deal mode and Bernie Sanders, communist Bernie Sanders, unity platform mode, and the media is not going to hold them accountable. And now we've lost Fox News to Rupert Murdoch's kids. They're no longer a reliable purveyor of the truth. They called Arizona before anyone else did on election night. We are outgunned. Big media is against us. Big tech is against us. Big Hollywood is against us. The colleges and universities are against us. The government schools K through 12 are against us. All we have is the American people, and the American people just got royally screwed by all of the aforementioned in a presidential election when we clearly outvoted the opposition, and it didn't matter because we lost anyway. And one of my chief concerns is a lot of people that never voted or never paid attention to politics came alive during the Tea Party movement. And then the Republicans and Democrats in D.C. both screwed everybody that supported the Tea Party movement. So then Donald Trump comes along, and they jump behind Donald Trump. And then Republicans and Democrats in D.C. screwed the people who supported Donald Trump. So at some point they're going to say, "Screw this! I'm not participating anymore," and then it's really over.
Yeah, that would be a tragedy. Well, I'm still hoping that some of this fraud can be proven and we can require the law to be followed and reveal what you alluded to, which was an actual victory. But it is hard to prove that because once the votes get shuffled in with the valid votes, once the fake ones get shuffled in, it's sometimes hard to segregate them back out. And so, but we'll see. I'm still holding out some hope.
Prime example, Alito told Pennsylvania to keep them separate.
Yeah.
The judge told the election watchers to stop blocking Republican poll watchers from entering the building. Did that happen? No. They continued to block the Republican poll watchers. So I would bet all the money in my pockets that the post-election day ballots were shuffled in with the regular election ballots, just in direct opposition to the Supreme Court justices' direct order.
Right, and then we've seen this happen before. They've done this in the past. But our time's about up, Seton, but I want to ask you if you would describe to our listeners how they can follow the important work that you do.
Well, I wouldn't send you to Twitter or Facebook anymore. Just go to lessgovernment.org. There's a Join with Less Government link. Just sign up with that. Unlike Google, we don't lease your data. And just sign up, and every time we write something, you'll get it in your inbox. That's the most direct and unbig tech way to keep in touch with less government.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Seton. We really appreciate your perspective. It's been great to have you on the show, as it always is. I'm glad I can call you a friend because I admire the work you do and the fact that you stand up for liberty and freedom consistently.
You're very kind. I'm sorry I'm such a Debbie Downer.
That's okay. These are tough times, so it's But bottom line, I just want to tell our listeners and our viewers, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. And he is Dr. Nasser Sheikh. And we will be right back after these messages. This, of course, we've carried on all these different networks, Conservative Commandos Radio Network, AUN TV Network. We're on TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, and of course, ccrshow.com. Don't go away. Nasser and I'll be right back.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show, the television show. We've got the AUN TV network. Of course, we've got our website, ccrshow.com. I'm George Landreth, and he is the doctor of our democratic constitutional republic, Dr. Nasser Sheikh. We are your co-hosts. We've really enjoyed being with you today. I'll just tell you real quick, you can follow me and keep up with the work that I do at Frontiers of Freedom at ff.org. You can follow me on Twitter at G Landreth. That's GLANDRITH. And on Parler, and that's catching on now. I'm at Real George Landreth. So not the fake one. But anyhow, Nasser, how can folks keep up with you? You're always doing great stuff.
Well, thank you, George. Well, they can go to my website first, which is drnasirshayk.com. So drnasirshayk.com. Finally, after 3 years of literally being deplatformed on YouTube, I was pleasantly surprised that they have allowed me back on. So you can go to my YouTube. I had to start all over again, but my YouTube channel, which is the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show, DR, and then my name, Nasser Sheikh Show. At Twitter, you can go to @Nasser Sheikh Show, @Nasser Sheikh Show, and you can also on Facebook, which is the Nasser Sheikh Show. That's the Nasser Sheikh Show. I want to thank our guests that we had today. Our first guest was Brooke McGowan. She's a co-founder of the MAGA Institute, and she literally had her boots, or let's say her heels, to the ground in Arizona in Maricopa County, basically watching the ballots being recounted. They were sort of outside. It was a very nice group gathering of like-minded patriots and conservatives. And they were just basically out there to exercise their right to protest freely and openly and non-violently, and just sort of, make sure that the people inside know that they're being watched on and being, on the up and up. And then we had Seton Motley, the president and founder of Less Government, a very good friend of my co-host George as well. And he was talking to us, obviously, about what he thought was happening on the election side and What do you think are some of the possibilities of how difficult it's going to be, perhaps, or the difficulty it may be in terms of trying to prove this voter fraud that's going out there? And also his article about the Biden unity, supposedly, or whatever. Anyway, so once again, two great guests on our show. And just like to basically say that, you know what, we talk about this all the time, is that when you're right, you're right. When you're left, you guys are wrong. George, back to you.
That's the truth, but we are out of time. We've got to run. We've got to go. So with that, both Nasser and I will say we will see you tomorrow on television and radio, and God bless.